Atlanta News First Plus starts now with First Alert Weather.
First Alert meteorologist JD Dishern here, and as we make our way into the next several days, we are expecting to see some very, very hot temperatures work their way in, even by Georgia standards, for the summer season. Now, the good news is, though, today we didn't really see a lot in the way of showers and storms. For those of you who had outdoor plans, they went off without a hitch, although by the time we get to the middle of the week, we're going to be wanting showers and storms. And the good news is they are in the forecast to help cool us down just a bit. I mean, take a look at these temperatures. We're going to be looking at a high of 97 tomorrow, 96 on Tuesday, and then finally 92 on Wednesday. Notice, though, all 3 days shaded in red. They're First Alert weather days, some of them for different reasons. So Monday, straight up heat. Heat index is going to be 105 degrees and greater. In fact, folks down in Eatonton, over in towards Milledgeville, will be seeing heat index values over 110. And then as we head into Tuesday, it's heat and storms. So we're going to see pop-up storms start to return to the forecast. And then those that don't see the storms, well, you're still going to be hot. We're talking heat index values over 105. But then Wednesday, I think everybody gets in on the showers and storms. We're going to be looking for scattered to numerous storms as we head into the afternoon. That's going to help to keep our temperature down. But keep in mind, it's still going to be humid. So that heat index on Wednesday is still going to be over 100 degrees. Taking a look right now, it's the 8 o'clock hour. In fact, most of these numbers are actually the 9 o'clock update that typically happens just a few minutes before the hour. So as of the 9 o'clock hour, upper 80s for a lot of folks. Look at that, 88 still in Atlanta, 89 in Athens, 85 in Covington, 86 in Eatonton, 87 in Rome, Canton, and Gainesville, and it still feels just hot. It still feels like 100 degrees in Eatonton, 94 in Athens, 93 in Atlanta, 91 in Covington, 92 in Rome, same for Canton, and 89 in Carrollton. Now, our high today was 96. Record is 101. So, this time of year, it's, we don't really get 10 degrees above average like we do in the wintertime. So wintertime will be like 10 degrees below, 10 degrees high. We'll see these wild swings, especially not only winter, but spring and fall as well. Summer, just hot. So, the majority of the time, like our average is 90, and we'll get up to like 93, 94. That's considered average. So anytime we get into the mid to upper 90s, even though it is hot and it's not the record, it's still unusual. We don't typically see strings of days like this where we're over 95 degrees. So, just kind of shows you that the sultry weather is typical, but also not. So I guess the word would be uncommon. It's definitely not rare, but it's definitely not something we see all the time here in the summer months. Now, again, beautiful shot there of the city. You can see in the sky cam, we're looking at a little bit of haze out there. Typical that you see. Sorry for the yawn there. 55% humidity. That's one of the things, that moisture in there, that's helping us to feel like we're in the 90s across most of the area. So here's your temperatures heading into the overnight hours. We're going to be looking at 87 degrees by the time we get into the 9 p.m. hour. So basically about now. Notice we're running a little warmer than that. So the models were saying, hey, look, 87 by 9. Well, let's go back and look. What are we at? 88. So it's close, but not quite perfect there. So I think we're going to be looking at temperatures to stay a little bit on the sultry side overnight. 80 by 3 a.m., 76 by 6 a.m. That's going to be the morning low, and then quickly rebounding. 80s pretty much by 7 a.m., 8 a.m. in the morning, and we're going to skyrocket back up into the 90s probably by about 10, 11 o'clock. So here's your forecast overnight. You're going to feel that moisture tomorrow morning, that humidity, that swelter in the air. 73 in Carrollton, 76 in Athens, 71 in LJ. 76 in Atlanta and Covington, 77 in Eatonton. And this is what the humidity is going to do to us. So by tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be looking for about 104 degrees in Atlanta, 106 on Tuesday. So that's why Monday and Tuesday are for the heat. By Wednesday, those that don't see the showers probably still feeling like 102, but I think the majority of us are going to see a little bit of moisture in the form of rain this time, and not just the humidity as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. As we kind of return to a more typical summertime pattern, temperatures are going to be back into the low 90s, feeling more like the mid to upper 90s. That is average for this time of year. That heat index, 95, 99, that is about average for this time of year. But the shower chances going right back into those, well, typical summertime pop-ups. So, but with the extreme heat coming in the next few days, heat exhaustion is a real thing, and you need to pay attention to it if you're going to be outdoors tomorrow. So if you start to feel faint or dizzy, obviously lightheaded is usually a sign, no matter what's happening, that something's not quite right. But excessive sweating. So obviously sweating is good for us in the summertime. It helps to cool our bodies off through the evaporation process. But if you're excessively sweating, that's going to start to become an issue. That's a sign your body's starting to go into distress a little bit, as is clammy, pale, and cooler skin. So if you notice, you kind of get that feeling that something's a little bit off. Your skin feels a little bit clammy. And then here's the one a lot of people don't really kind of think about is a rapid, weak pulse. A lot of folks will get, a rapid, strong pulse and, when they're exercising and things like that. But if your heart rate is going pretty fast, but it's not quite, easy to feel underneath your wrist or maybe, along your neck, that's a sign that something's going on. And then muscle cramps. And this is mainly because your body's not getting the electrolytes it needs and you're starting to get dehydrated. So those are all things to look at. This is what I had the other day. I was going a little too hard outside, playing with the dog, trying to get his energy out. He was fine before you start asking about him. Yeah, Marty was just fine. He was in and out of the tub, playing in the water, having a great old time. I was not. And so because I wasn't getting in the water, I was not cooling off. And I started to get a little nauseous there. So, that was my sign that, hey, I need to cool off, go inside, get a little bit of air conditioning, and help myself feel a little bit better. So, yeah, even though we're meteorologists and we're telling you all of these things to look out for, it does happen to us too. So that's why one of the reasons we kind of harp on it is, yes, I know you're in the South. I know you're in Georgia. I know you deal with the heat, but this is a little unusual. So these are just the things to look out for as you make your way through the next 48 hours. And here's where we expect the worst of the heat to be. Everyone shaded in orange. So this is Banks County all the way down into Rockdale, Henry County, Spalding County, and then down into Upson County, and then off to the east. Everywhere you see in the orange there. So this includes Athens, Covington, Griffin, Thomaston, over into Conyers. This is where we have a heat advisory. This is where we expect the heat index on your Monday to be 105 to 109 degrees. Notice Putnam County down there in Eatonton, one of those few counties shaded in the pink. That is an extreme heat warning. That's the next level up. That's where we have the heat index possible to be at least 110. So that is dangerous heat. So if you're going to be around Lake Oconee for the Monday and Tuesday, definitely want to kind of limit your time outdoors, period. Don't want to be spending too much time out there. So tomorrow's highs, average this time of year is 90, 97 in Atlanta and Covington, 98 in Athens and Eatonton, 95 in Gainesville, 94 in Rome, 93 in LaGrange. The farther north and the farther west you go, the cooler it's going to be. So that's why our western suburbs not quite as hot. The high pressure system giving us this heat is actually situated a little bit to the east. It's not right on top of us. And so that's where we're going to see the hottest temperatures. As we go into the next few days, though, it's pretty much the same thing. Look at these temperatures on Tuesday. We're going to be looking at 96 in Atlanta. So not a big change. 97 to 96. 96 in Eatonton, 95 in Athens, 94 in Gainesville. Notice our western counties, though, start to pick up a little bit in terms of the heat. 95 in Rome, 94 in LaGrange. And because of that, the heat index in those areas is going to start to peak up a bit as well. Now, keep in mind, by the time we get into our Wednesday, temperature's going way down. So you notice, we get out of the mid-90s. We're back into the low 90s, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And the reason for that, and not hard to see why, is rain chances are slowly creeping back up. So we didn't have any rain today. It was a 0% chance. Tomorrow we're putting it at 20, maybe a passing shower or two, 40% on Tuesday, and then 50% on Wednesday. I think we may even bump that up to 60% for tomorrow morning. The middle of the week looking definitely on the the wetter side there. Not looking like severe weather at this time, but still showers and storms helping to cool us off. And then sticking with those pop-ups Thursday on into Friday. So here's that 7-day forecast. First alert weather days for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Like we're saying, beyond that, more of a summertime pattern. So temperatures in the low 90s for your Thursday and Friday. Heat index mid to upper 90s, maybe low 100s, and a 40% chance of showers and storms. Then the pendulum swings, right in the other direction. So, we're talking about temperatures maybe 10 degrees above average. Now we're going to swing back to maybe 10 degrees below average. Almost all of the models are picking up on much cooler air starting to work its way in for next weekend. That heat dome is going to retreat back down into the southwest, down into Mexico, and that's going to allow a little bit of cooler air to start to work its way in. In fact, unseasonably cooler air. So we're going to seesaw in the other direction. And Saturday, 85. Sunday, 82. It's very uncommon to see, temperatures in the 70s for our highs in the beginning of August. August typically our hottest month of the year. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. In fact, several models indicating we could see highs next weekend, particularly on Sunday, like 78, 79 with a lot of rain in the area. So again, these cooler temperatures are dependent on how much moisture is starting to roll in. But it's definitely a far cry from what we're seeing right now. So it is something that we just kind of need to keep our eye on and look at as we go into the next 3-4 days. So it's just, another change that we're going to be looking at into the forecast. But otherwise, just try and get through the heat. We're going to be looking again hot, dangerously hot Monday and Tuesday, storms rolling on Wednesday, and then pop-ups Thursday and Friday before a much cooler weekend for next weekend. So that's your forecast. I'm going to be back on air at 10 for Peachtree TV, and then WANF at 11 on Atlanta News First. And then Ella, Courtney, Rodney, morning crew, they're all going to be here tomorrow morning, streaming on air, online, and on the app with the latest updates for you. Until then, have a blessed evening.
up to date on your latest weather from the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert Weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF+. You can also text WEATHER to the number on your screen, and we'll send a link directly to your cell phone.